So I made this video so that I can raise awareness of the educational crisis that we are facing as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Um, a big way for you to help me in doing so is by simply liking and commenting on this video. The more likes and comments this video gets, the more YouTube pushes my video to the world. And in turn, the more views my video gets. And as a result, the more awareness is raised. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. I got this new tea diffuser, and this is the best investment that I've made in a while. I can make tea from anything. All right, let me get to the purpose of the video though. First of all, my name is Jesse Williams, for those of you who are new to the channel. I'm many things, but one of them is an educator. I tutor biology from the 3rd grade level all the way up to undergraduate level of college, and I tutor math from the 3rd grade level all the way up to the graduate level of college. In my professional opinion, I believe every student, especially post-COVID-19, needs a tutor, needs a personal private tutor, or at least a small group tutor. And now I'm about to tell you why. Let's talk about pre-COVID-19, the urban education system. I'm gonna speak for the urban education system. For the urban education system, pre-COVID-19, you already had teachers battling overcrowded classrooms, undermotivated students, uninvolved parents, unsupportive administrations, just fucked up circumstances that happen in urban settings, like students getting shot, killed, all type of wild shit that nobody should have to deal with. All type of wild shit that nobody should have to deal with. And yet, these teachers and students, might I add, because this burden is on the students just as much as the teachers. These students and teachers had to deal with all that bullshit already. That's pre-COVID-19. Let me paint a picture for you for an urban education classroom. Pre-COVID-19, might I add. I keep saying that because I wanna stress that this shit was already an uphill battle. Independently of coronavirus, this shit was already an uphill battle. And this is what I experienced as a teacher in the urban education system. I come in the classroom, I have anywhere from 20 to 30 students. About half of the students were at grade level. About half. Within that other half, so out of 30 students, 15 of them are not at grade level. Within that 15 that are not at grade level, some of them don't really understand what fractions are. Some of them don't know how to add or subtract without a calculator. And the list goes on. And so as a teacher, you have to make a decision. Do you want to teach for understanding, or do you want to teach for memory? Every teacher wants to teach for understanding. Any good teacher, any teacher who cares about their job is gonna want to teach for understanding. You want to teach these students so that they understand how to apply these concepts in the real world so that they can be productive members of society. But with all these disadvantages that you have as a teacher, some days you have to teach for memory. Because now you have administration on your ass saying, hey, they grades ain't where they need to be. You got 8 out of your 30 students that got a D, and you got 3 that got an F. That's too many of your students failing. So I need you to get their test scores up. That's how administration coming. They on your ass like, hey, get these tests, get these grades together. Administration coming like that, and you see how your students coming. Half of them at grade level, you feel me? So they got a C or better. But the other half, shit, it's like, you know, they not doing so hot. And so now you have to sacrifice some of your instruction. You had this whole plan together saying, hey, I'm gonna teach for understanding. Cool. Plan A is teaching for understanding, but now administration on your ass. Teaching for understanding, hold on, let me rewind a second. Teaching for understanding takes a lot of effort, and it takes much, much, much more time. It takes a lot of time. And you have a curriculum that you have to stick to because administration is on your ass saying, hey, stick to this fucking curriculum. So, all right, originally my goal was to teach for understanding, but that's out the window because it's taking me too much time. And I need my fucking job. I gotta live, don't I? So now it's like, okay, let's just teach for memory. And that's when you gotta start, teaching them how to regurgitate information. You teach them how to memorize formulas as opposed to derive formulas. You teach them how to memorize processes instead of how to derive processes. You're teaching them how to answer a problem on a test instead of teaching them how to solve a problem in real life. And you're doing this for the sake of your job as a teacher. Pre-COVID, that was pre-COVID-19. And now, fuck it, let's fast forward. Post-COVID-19. Post-COVID-19. These teachers still have the same overcrowded classrooms that they've been had. They still got the same students who are unfortunately, some of them, unfortunately, are not at grade level. You still got the same administration that's on their ass. So they still got all those same challenges that they had pre-COVID-19. And now add to that, they no longer have the advantage of being able to see the student not paying attention, dozing off, drifting off, goofing around, texting on their phone. They no longer have this advantage because now a lot of these students operate with their cameras turned off. A lot of these students come to class virtually, come to virtual class while not being at class. You feel me? They're present while not, the Zoom meeting Google Meet says they're present, but they really, might be somewhere else doing what kids do. Kids that don't necessarily appreciate the gravity of their education system in that moment. Not all kids appreciate the gravity of their education experience in that moment. So they got all those challenges. They got all those pre-COVID-19 challenges. And then add to that, they have to be tech support for, somebody's iPad didn't update. They didn't update. Somebody forgot to update their iPad. And so now their iPad is, performing a scheduled update mid-class. And so now that student is missing out on what they were supposed to be doing. Somebody just don't know how to navigate the virtual, platform that teachers are using to teach. And so now the teachers have to be tech support in that regard. In addition to saying, hey, Johnny, James, Timothy, Noah, wake up. You know what I mean? When you're in a classroom, it's easy to spot a student who's half asleep. When you're teaching virtually and 60, 70, 80% of the students refuse to turn their camera on, how would you know if anybody is asleep or not? The students are even less engaged than ever pre-COVID-19 in the urban education system. I'm speaking for the urban education specifically. Pre-COVID-19 engagement was difficult. Post-COVID-19 engagement is damn near impossible. The only students who are going to be engaged are the ones who have their parents sitting right there saying, hey, make sure you're paying attention. And not a lot of parents got the time to do that because they somewhere else working so that they can keep a roof over their head and their children's head. So you got those students paying attention, and then you got the students paying attention who are motivated to learn in this time. Students being motivated to learn was already a really big problem in the urban education system. And now it's an even bigger problem because now students are free to disengage as much as they like. And so there you have it. Even if you have a student who is a a very motivated learner, somebody who is very thorough in how they approach their education, somebody who is responsible, even if this sounds like your student, they still having a difficult time learning because now they're learning from a teacher who is having a difficult time teaching. And so you come to a point where the teachers cannot do it all. You have to have some other means for providing education to the students. The teachers cannot do it all. They cannot. It's literally impossible at this point for a teacher to show up in a classroom and teach a million and one, teach all these topics that half the students don't really care to learn in this point in time because we live in an unstable world right now with this pandemic going on. I say all this to say your child, now more than ever, your child would benefit from one-on-one or small group instruction. There is no, you feel me? You can't expect these teachers to do it all because they know they can't. Like, all right, you got good teachers out there. I know plenty of great teachers, and I know for a fact they are doing their best, and their best is not good enough post COVID-19. And that's where some form of supplemental education comes in. You need somebody who is well versed in the subject, who is experienced in the subject. You need somebody like that to sit down, speak with your student one-on-one, and see what they missed from class, what misconceptions they have from class, and they need to have those misconceptions corrected. The teachers can't do that. They just not going to be able to do it. Like, even the most well-intentioned teacher is not going to be able to do it. Since my freshman year of undergraduate, I've been tutoring math. And to this day, I pride myself on this. To this day, no student that I've ever tutored has failed the course that I was tutoring them for. Not a single one. I have the benefit of not having to address 17 unique misconceptions, all within a 50-minute time frame. I get to sit down with that student, probe their brain, see where their understanding goes wrong, and correct it. That's an advantage as an educator. That's an advantage as an educator that your student needs in their life that the teachers do not have. School teachers do not have that advantage. And so if you want to invest in your child, I highly, 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 highly recommend, I implore you, go find you a good tutor for your child and pay whatever they ask for. A lot of y'all cheap as hell. Now, I offer tutoring at dirt cheap rates because I don't do the shit for the money. I do it, because I want to actually mitigate the damage and minimize the damage that the COVID-19 pandemic has caused. Holiday season is coming up. Holiday season is coming up, and a lot of y'all about to go broke to buy your kids a bunch of shit that they don't need. If you find yourself getting ready to buy your child a new pair of shoes and they already have 3 pairs of shoes, one of those pairs of shoes being some winter shoes. If your child got 3 pairs of shoes, they don't need a 4th. Don't spend $200 on some mics. Don't spend $200 on some Timbs. Don't spend $275, $300 on no damn Yeezys for your child. They don't need no PS5. They don't need no new Xbox. They don't need no new game. They damn sure don't need no new iPhone. They come out with a new iPhone every fucking year. They don't need none of that. what they need is a proper investment into them. And that would be a proper investment among many things. One proper investment would be a proper investment into their education. And so with that, I hope I've been able to convince at least one of you out there, at least one person who's seen this. I hope I've been able to convince you to look for a tutor. I have a tutoring company. If you now at this point in time, I am 100% booked up. I'm just one person, and I can't take on any more students. I also work a full-time job. I work 8 hours a day, and then I go and tutor for another X amount of however many hours a day I end up tutoring. Like, I'm already spread pretty thin, and so I can't take on any more. I personally can't take on any more clients. But if you reach out to me, I can refer you to someone. Their prices are, I can guarantee you their prices won't be as low as mine, but I can also guarantee you that their prices are very reasonable for what you'd be getting in exchange for paying those prices. So